up into the top.
Yeah, definitely. So going back into the current game right now, back there's you see there, Mikael Jakobs from Norway. He's going to be there on the left, and he is going to be playing a very, very interesting deck actually, one that we've not really seen the concept at all for today. We see there it's Xerneas with Xerneas Break, but and with Mega Gardevoir, both of them. So a whole plethora of fairy attackers. It should be very interesting to see.
Yeah, first round we saw this deck playing against Greninja, piloted by different players.
So Tito Santoso.
Yeah, exactly. But Mikael plays a very different list. His opponent from Denmark is Nicklas Danielsen, and he's going for a deck that used to be like one of the best in the format, but it kind of lost its flair. He plays Mega Mewtwo, but he managed to find a way to win against Gardevoir decks by using his Magiana from Steam Siege and Metal Energy cards. So he is not using the damage change attack to heal damage, but you can see he is using the Mewtwo that does not need Psychic Energy cards to attack with, and he plays he plays just 4 of the Mewtwo's from Breakthrough, and with Metal Energy cards for his Magiana, he just deals a lot of damage with the Mega Mewtwo.
Yeah, of course, with Soul Blaster doing 100. Oh!
This hurts a lot. Mikael plays Professor Sycamore, discarding 3 of his Max Elixir, which is a very great card to get your energies into play. He plays Mega Pokemon, so he can either play Max Elixir to attach the energies to like their Pokemon EX, or you can use Mega Turbo to attach them to the Mega Pokemon. The reason why you play Max Elixir is because you have to discard the Mega Turbos very often, and also often you cannot even play them at all because your Pokemon is either not evolved yet, or you don't have fairy energies in your discard pile. This is the reason why you play Max Elixir, to use them more often, but here you see him just discarding 3 of them. Does he play 4 or 3? Yeah, he plays 4, so 1 left, but still this will slow him down a lot. Especially against stuff like Magiana EX, it's very important to get energies very quick. And, well, at least Nicklas is not having the best start. Here we see him opening with Hoopa EX. His Scoundrel Ring ability is the reason why it's so popular in Mega decks. However, when you start with it, you cannot really use it early on.
Yeah, so as we can see, when it comes to the decision of whether to use Max Elixir or Mega Turbo, I think especially for Mikael's deck, it makes a lot of sense to go for the Max Elixir because you have a lot of non-Mega Pokemon basics that you can also attach to. So even if you've already evolved one of your Gardevoirs into a Mega Gardevoir, you can just bench a Xerneas and use Max Elixir to attach to that. So I think it makes sense to use Max Elixir in that context. It's more likely that you'll have something to be able to attach to early on, especially with the Max Elixir than it is with Mega Turbo.
Yeah, on the other side of the field, you see a very similar deck that is also using Mega Pokemon. It also needs a lot of energies to attack with, but Nicklas decided to play Mega Turbo and no Max Elixir. The reason for this is because Mega Mewtwo needs the energies to themselves. So once you have your Mega Mewtwo in play, you need to attach the energies to the Mewtwo, and Max Elixir can only attach energies to benched basic Pokemon, so neither to your active nor to your Mega Pokemon. So this is the reason why Mega Turbo is more popular in these Mewtwo decks. Yeah. And also the Mewtwo decks can use double colors energy cards, which Gardevoir is not really able to.
Yeah, as you see that Nicklas Danielsen, he benches the Magiana EX, so of course this card is mainly used for its ability. So once it's out in play, any Pokemon with Metal Energy attached are not affected by effective attacks. We saw Shintaro Ito at the World Championships this year. He used it in his Mega Ordino deck, so that his Mega Ordino wouldn't be affected by something like Bubble, for example.
Yeah, or Stardust. Yeah. But Stardust, of course, in this meta game, a few people play it, and there are also a few people in the top 32 who have one Jirachi in their deck.
Yeah.
But of course, the main purpose is just to be able to deal with Mega Gardevoir here.
Yeah, of course, because it has that Soul Blaster attack, which just for free energy does 120 damage, and then next turn does 60 damage. But of course, by then you can just switch it out to get the extra damage again. So normally just doing that 120 one time to Mega Gardevoir or Gardevoir is enough, because of course all fairy Pokemon have metal weakness, so you double that weakness and it makes it 240 damage, so it's a knockout.
Yeah, exactly. And Nicklas starts, even though he started Hoopa, looks kind of decent. He got an energy to his Magiana, which I think is very fair. And in theory, he could next turn play Lysander and then have a Floatstone. But let's see what Mikael is going to do here, because, yeah, like we already said, his discard pile is not looking that optimal for the situation, and he really needs to apply some pressure. Of course, the Steam Siege Gardevoir, I think, the Steam Siege Mega Gardevoir, I think, is the preferred attacker in this matchup. However, he only has one of them in his deck, so once that gets knocked out by Magiana, it will be very hard for him to come back.
Yeah, the Steam Siege Mega Gardevoir, we've seen it rising popularity, especially in Europe, as its own deck, sort of focusing on setting up with Hooper and Shamans and Dragon Knights, just to fill up your bench with Pokemon and just discard them with Despair Ray. It's obviously because of the dual typing as well. It's because it's half Psychic, half Fairy. It makes it so that it's very easy to knock out Mega Mewtwo's, and this is why the Mega Mewtwo deck fell out of popularity.
Yeah, I think Mikael just showed us his one Spinder in his deck. It's not a very card that you see played that often. It deals 10 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. So in theory, you can take knockouts with it. But the one thing it does is just you win against Gyarados. Gyarados is not that of a popular deck that you would usually assume. It doesn't really make sense to play cards against it. But, I mean, Mikael will have something in his mind, and here we see it in his hand again. I think there will be a few matchups. There should be at least one more matchup where a Spinner makes sense other than Gyarados. But, of course, if you face a Gyarados deck, this will be a big advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's just thinking to himself that maybe he thought as a meta call that a lot of people would play Gyarados. So of course, we do actually have a Gyarados in top 32. Scott Simmons of the UK, the only UK player still in contention, is playing Gyarados. So if Mikael runs up into him, then I think that Spinder is going to give Scott a very bad day. But other than that, yeah, maybe it's hard to know whether he actually used it much through day one. We've been trying to assemble a record of all of the decks that all the people in top 32 played against, but we haven't got that fully ready yet, so we'll be able to get that information for you a little bit later.
Yeah, so here we see just ending his turn by using Geomancy, attaching a few energy cards. There are two very great Xerneas in the format, and this is, I think, arguably not the better one. The Rainbow Force has its own deck, but with this Xerneas you can make the Primal Clash Mega Gardevoir work, because you can just get a lot of energies into play.
Yeah, of course, that Geomancy attack, just for one Fairy Energy, lets you choose two of your bench Pokemon, and then for each one you choose, search your deck for a Fairy Energy and attach it to it too. So it gets you 2 extra energy out on the field, and of course, every extra Fairy Energy that you attach means that the Mega Gardevoir's brilliant arrow attack is going to do 30 more damage, and so that builds up very quickly.
Yeah, this is true. So Nicklas is just setting up his Pokemon. It doesn't really make sense in this situation to already attack with Magiana. But let's see what he's going for. Here we see the escape probe, and I think we talked a lot about this, how great you can outplay your opponent by using this in the right situation. The Magiana deals 120 damage for an additional double color entry card, so every Pokemon on Mikael's bench will get one hit knocked out by it. So it might be smart for Nicklas to use that attack. He also plays Olympia, so he can put Magiana on his bench, then put a Pokemon with a Floatstone active, and then just retreat to kind of reset this. But it also seems that he doesn't even play Floatstone. Yeah, so that's not an option. But of course, Olympia is just a great card in general.
Yeah, unfortunately for Nicklas, he does not see the double colorless off of that Sycamore, and his bench is full, so he can't even say, Ultra Ball for another Shaman to draw more there. So it looks like Nicklas is going to miss the attack next turn, which is... well, this turn rather, which is a bit of a shame for him, but he's going to have to be content with attaching a Metal Energy to his bench beginner, and he's probably just going to have to pass.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate for him, but I don't really see a big problem with it, because like Magiana only has 160 HP, but it's still nothing close to being one-hit knocked out next turn, especially considering that there is only one Max Elixir in Mikael's deck still in there. So there's not enough energies that he can attach this turn to one-hit knockout, as far as I know, with the Mega Gardevoir.
Well, if he did manage to see his last Max Elixir and he managed to hit it, and then he attached another energy, that would be 6.
That would be actually enough. So in theory, he can take the knockout. However, he would need to get his Shaman to the bench somehow. But he needs 3 energies to his Mega Gardevoir to attack. So I don't really think he does play Floatstone. He only has the Fairy Garden. So he cannot retreat, which means, well, unfortunately, it's not able to take the knockout this turn, unless he uses the Steam Siege Gardevoir and then discards his whole bench. But then he would lose all of his energies, which I don't really think is going to happen here.
Yeah, it's unfortunate as well. And okay, so we see a Lysander onto the Hooper, and yeah, he's going to just Geomant here. And I think in this situation, this play makes the most sense, because you know you can't get a knockout regardless, so you may as well just bring up something that's going to force your opponent in a bit of an awkward situation in terms of retreating and start building up that fairy energy, because now Mikael has so much fairy energy on his field that he can just spread it around, make sure that everything can retreat off this fairy garden, make sure that he's in a position where his Gardevoir can attack next turn, and make sure that there's enough energy so that the Brilliant Arrow attack does enough damage to knock out all of Nicklas's stuff.
Yeah, also, Nicklas Pokemon are all Pokemon EX. He doesn't have any non-EX Pokemon, so whichever Pokemon he uses to knock out this Xerneas here, Mikael will take 2 prize cards if he knocks out afterwards. So if Mikael just uses Geomancy the whole game to set up all of his Pokemon, and then can just take knockout, 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 he will win the game. So Nicklas also has to keep in mind. Nicklas also has to keep this in mind. And now this situation doesn't really look great for him, because he doesn't really play that many switching cards. He already used 1 escape rope, so he has 1 escape rope left and the Olympia. But if he uses a supporter, he cannot use the Olympia anymore. So there is actually a high chance that again this Hoopa will be stuck in the active spot, giving Mikael the big advantage of this Lysander in this turn.
Yeah, it's a bit of an unfortunate turn for Nicklas. His best turn essentially would be drawing cards off of it versus something like a Sycamore, and then hitting the escape rope as well, so he can actually switch out that Hooper, because his only other way of retreating is he has a double colours in his hand. He could attach that and retreat, but then he's not attaching to something that he can attack with. So
yeah, but he just attached the Metal Energy to Magir now, so again he won't be able to attack. Another thing I think he is forced to do at some point anyways is to play Parasity, limiting his bench Pokemon to get rid of this Hoopa EX and the other Shaman. They're just lying there, not doing a lot. And now I think Mikael has a big advantage. Here we see his last Max Elixir. Hope for him that it will hit. Otherwise it will be very sad, playing 4 Max Elixirs and not getting the advantage out of anyone like it just happened. So yeah, he has to attach every energy from hand or by using Geomancy this game.
Yeah, but I mean, he's already done very well off of that. We can see that he already has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 energy on the field from just geomanting and attaching manually. He's building himself up very nicely to be able to just plow through Nicklas's field with that Mega Gardevoir from Primal Clash.
Yeah, 210 damage for 7 energies is enough to one-hit knock out every Pokemon on Nicklas' field. So these energies are enough. He just needs to prepare for getting knocked out and then still having energies. He has 1 XP share attached to his benched Shaman EX, so he will only lose 2 energies when one of his Mega Gardevoir will get knocked out. But if he uses the Xerneas Break attack, which is also a great inclusion in this deck because it kind of counters. I don't really think you need a counter against Regice, but it serves as a Regice counter. And with the live stream attack, you do 20 for each of your energy attached to all of your Pokemon. It's not 30 like the Mega Gardevoir, but it's it only takes 2 energy, so you don't lose that many if you attack. And also it's a non-EX Pokemon with 150 HP, so this Xerneas Break has a lot of advantages.
Yeah, this is something we neglected to mention from his list earlier, but the fact that he plays it is just, it gives him that versatility of being able to, if he can, just take the knockout. He has enough energy on the field so that he doesn't need to attack with the Mega Gardevoir. He can just attack with the Xerneas instead. And yeah, live stream, of course, 20 damage for each energy that you have in play. It's just really, really great attack. We've seen it being used in other decks as well. We've seen that a lot of lists that have played the Rainbow Force Xerneas have been taking it as a one-of because of the extra HP and the fact that it's a counter to anything that can't be hit by basic Pokemon or by EXs. Obviously, it doesn't matter so much in that circumstance, but it's really good.
Now, Mikael is doing one thing I really, really love. He attacks with the Gardevoir EX, Shining Wind. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon has no weakness. So, in this way, even if Nicklas somehow manages to get his Hoopa back to the bench by playing Olympia or Switch, which Mikael doesn't really know that he doesn't play them, but you have to keep this in mind. So, if he plays Switch or Floatstone, the Gardevoir will stay in play. If he plays Olympia, the Gardevoir will most likely also stay in play. If he plays Escape Rope, he can just put something like Shaman or the other Xerneas active. So it's very unlikely for Nicklas to get the knockout here. I think he would need 1 double colors and a Mega Turbo to take the knockout, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I believe that will probably be enough. Yes, that's right.
Yes, it would be enough to knock it out.
That'd
so
be 190.
Exactly, but since we know Nicklas cannot play Olympia anymore because he already played with the Sycamore, he has to play Escape Rope and then Mikael can react to it. So we saw that Nicklas just played a Max Elixir down. He has an Escape Rope in his hand. And if he does play it, it seems kind of weird that he did play the Mega Turbo first, because when you use Escape Rope, you want to give your opponent as less information as you can, like we already saw last game. So the less information your opponent has, the worse his decision gets. So when you have an Escape Rope and know you will play it eventually anyways, you try to first play the Escape Rope, unless you want to bait your opponent into something. But Nicklas didn't play the Escape Rope anyway, so it wasn't a big difference.
Yeah, it looks like he actually decided to just not attack entirely. He did have the option of attaching the double colorless and just going for the attack with the Mega Mewtwo, but deciding not to, and just being content with playing the Mega Turbo and passing. Which, interesting play from Nicklas here.
Yeah, because especially with Escape Rope, he could have knocked out every Pokemon, because you can also attach the double colors to the Magearna on the bench. And Shining Wind only gives the one Pokemon that attack with Shining Wind no weakness anymore, so you would be able to take a knockout on every of Mikael's Pokemon. But he also needs to keep in mind that he cannot just put Xerneas active and then that Pokemon get knocked out. However, now he can also just retreat because of Fairy Garden without discarding any energy into his Xerneas Break and then take the knockout this way. So interesting play here, but let's see if it pays off for him.
Absolutely. We see there that Mikael is going to evolve his bench Gardevoir into the Gardevoir from Steam Siege, rather. This is the one we mentioned earlier. He plays it just as a one-of, but really useful in certain matchups, and especially against Mega Mewtwo, of course. Being able to hit it for weakness is really nice.
Yeah, it's also amazing Pokemon to just take 2-hit knockouts, because you can just discard your Shamans on the bench without playing Paracity. So the Gardevoir decks, when you play the Fairy Garden, you cannot use Paracity that good. So you could always have free retreat, but when you are in a situation where you think, well, my opponent could win by using Lysander Shaman, you can just retreat, then discard all of them. Also, when you have some Pokemon that got a lot of damage, you can just discard these Pokemon. We saw that also in the first round, where he just discarded his whole bench with a lot of Pokemon that had damage in field. And yeah, let's see if that pays off here, or if he just goes for Xerneas again.
Yeah, it's really... So... looks like he's opting to retreat into the Shaman instead.
He can either use Skyreturn or just pass his turn. If he does not want his active Gardevoir to get knocked out, because he would lose a lot of energy cards. And also he still knows that Nicklas might not even be able to attack him back anyways. And now he just puts the Pokemon that he doesn't really care that much about being knocked out. And now Nicklas really needs his Paracity and a way to get the Hooper back to the bench again. This way he can get rid of the damage and just rid of this Pokemon with True Retreat. And here you see, starting with the Hooper at the first place is so important in this matchup. This is also why a lot of people don't really like playing Hooper in decks. It's not necessary, like for example Yveltal. But now Nicklas just goes for Versus Seeker Lysander, it seems.
Oh no, that's a mistake, because now he's being asked. I think he's asking if he's allowed to take it back, because of course the thing is, if he plays the Lysander first and then he plays the Escape Rope,
he cannot play the Escape Rope.
Yeah.
So he wanted what he wanted to do is he played Versus Seeker for Lysander, but he also pointed on the Pokemon that he wanted to be active. But now his Escape Rope play doesn't pay out. It's similar to what Takuya Yoneda did, just playing the cards in the wrong order. That sometimes happens when you have a lot of pressure. You know exactly what you want to do, but you accidentally do these kind of little mistakes, because he also could have played Versus Seeker, then just take the Lysander in his hand, then play Escape Rope. But he communicated kind of poorly what he wanted to do, so this is a big problem. At big tournaments, you really need to be aware of this.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be so bad if Nicklas had something that he could use to retreat, like say manually attach double colorless to the Hooper and retreat and attack, but nothing on Nicklas's side of the field has enough energy to attack without an attachment, so he unfortunately can't do that.
Yeah, now this is so sneaky. Okay, here's my Shaman back. Have fun with this one. And if he played it in the right direction, he could have drawn 2 prize cards on the Mega Gardevoir, which is weak. And now he has his Magearna EX active, and Mikael even has enough energies in play to just knock it out. Mikael almost forgot his XP share, but you have as much time as you want until you put another Pokemon active, and then your chance is over. And now he can just use the Mega Gardevoir to take the knockout. Then Nicklas could use his Magearna to take the knockout back. I don't know if Mikael is then able to grab the knockout on Magearna, but how many energies does he even have? 6 is enough for the Mega Gardevoir to knock it out, but there might be even enough in play for the Xerneas Break. So there are 6, 7, 8 energies in play actually. Times 2, that's 160 damage. So he doesn't even need his Mega Gardevoir to attack. He can also just retreat, as long as he has an energy, retreat into Xerneas Break, take the knockout here. Unfortunately, he doesn't have an energy. He also didn't play a supporter card, so he can just draw 2 prizes on the Magearna and then getting rid of a big threat. And let's see if Nicklas, he can either take the knockout with his Mega Mewtwo to then secure the Magearna for the knockout on the Steam Siege Gardevoir. So there's a lot of things going on. You have to kind of predict what your opponent is going for, and you need to trade off your chances of even just getting enough energies for the knockout.
Yeah. With the Steam Siege Gardevoir, you do need to be a little bit careful. You mentioned earlier that how you can use it to discard your enchantment, which is of course great, but it's kind of, you have to get the right balance between doing that, but also making sure that you have enough things to put energy on so that the Primal Clash Mega Gardevoir is doing enough damage, because of course the whole idea behind spreading out your energy is that you want it so that any knockout that your opponent takes is taking the least amount of damage off the field in terms of knocking energy off. So you want to maybe put one energy on one Pokemon, one on another Pokemon, and if you end up discarding stuff, then obviously if it's a late enough point in the game, we saw that Tito timed that switch over massively in terms of knowing when to do that big discard, but at this point in the game, Mikael is probably he's doing absolutely the right thing, just leading with his Primal Clash Mega Gardevoir. He doesn't need to discard anything at this point. It's working out really well.
Like I already said, he wasn't able to attack last turn, but here we see another Lysander on the Steam Siege Gardevoir. So now Nicklas is just preparing to rush through with his last Mega Mewtwo in the future turns. However, let's see if this pays off. Don't forget your Max Elixir. Yeah, okay. Again, you almost forgot the Max Elixirs. It's really important in this matchup.
I mean the XP shares.
I mean the XP share. I'm very sorry for this. Yeah, the XP shares. But he only decides to attach 1 energy, which is very interesting. He could have used both of his XP shares, one on the Shaman, other one on the Xerneas Break. And here we see the Brilliant Arrow Mega Gardevoir active again. And now he has a lot of energies in play. Might be even enough for the Xerneas Break to knock out again. I think it's one less.
Yeah, I'm wondering why maybe that tool on the Shaman isn't an experience share, because if it was, then you would think he'd maybe attach it, but I don't really see what else it could be, and maybe if he had done that, then he would have been able to get the knockout with the Xerneas Break, but maybe he's thinking of something that we're not, I guess. And he's just counting the amount of energy out on the field now, and he's attaching to
they're just counting if it's enough for the Xerneas Break to attack. Magearna only has 160 HP, so at the moment it's even enough. And because of the Fairy Garden, he has to retreat. But I'm also wondering, I'm 100% sure this is an XP share. You can even see the name is too short to be Gardevoir Spirit Link, and these are the only tools he has in his deck. But maybe there was a big decision there. Having this energies in the discard pile allows you to super rot them back and attach them to something else. And maybe he also doesn't want to have a lot of energies for the Shaman to be Lysander, and then Nicklas needs less energies on this Mega Mewtwo to knock this out.
Yeah, this could be it as well.
But this way, he still has enough energies anyway, so he didn't really need the XP share here to take the knockout. And it's also enough for him to knock out any Pokemon, any Mega Pokemon with his Mega Gardevoir. Because then he can use both XP shares after the Xerneas Break got knocked out, applying a lot of pressure on Nicklas' field. So I think Mikael will win this game, but Nicklas still has a slim chance of turning this around.
Yes, he does, as we see that they're both going down to 2 prizes apiece, and Nicklas is going to take his draw. You see there, Trainer's Mail. He's going to find himself a Parallel City or a Spirit Link.
Well, the Parallel City, he plays 3 of them, but he needed them earlier, and his hand is just 1 Mega Mewtwo, 1 Mewtwo, and that's it.
Oh dear.
There is no way he can do anything to win this game anymore.
No, he can't draw cards. There's nothing else he can sort of see off that.
The only way is to play Paracity, and then maybe Mikael can't retreat and still have enough energies for the one-hit knockout. Because Xerneas has 2 retreat, so he would need to discard 2 energies, and he has only enough energies in play to deal 180 damage. It's very unlikely that this is going to happen, and even if it doesn't, Mikael can just use attack with the non-break Xerneas, Geomancy, attach more energies again, and then it should be over. So Nicklas is really forced in a spot here.
Yeah, he can play the Parallel City the other way around as well. The other way around, the blue side facing him, opting not to, but he could have maybe discarded the Hooper.
Yeah, it didn't really matter because the Shaman also is a one-hit knockout anyways. So let's see. He just needs a Lysander or an energy. Mikael, I saw the energy. I guess he just counting again if that is still enough for the knockout if he retreats. Let's see what he's going to do. Mewtwo only has 210 HP, so the Mega Gardevoir from Primal Clash would need 7 energies in play in total. After the retreat, there are 3 on the Mega Gardevoir, 2 on the Xerneas, and 1 on the Shaman. That's 6 energies, so he would need to attach 1 energy from his hand, and now it is enough.
Yep.
Yeah, for the knockout, they decide, okay, fair enough, next game. And here you see Nicklas Danielsen plays a Magiana EX just to have a better matchup against Gardevoir decks. And the Gardevoir decks he wants to have a better matchup against are usually not these with the Xerneas, but the one with they play only Steam Siege and then stuff like Skyfield and Dragonite that can really play so much pressure against Mewtwo decks. However, Mikael plays very good and yeah, does the right decisions. Everything turned out perfectly for him. Of course, we saw the one mistake Nicklas did with the Escape Rope and the Lysander, but maybe he can turn this around in the next games. And you're always learning new things.
Yeah, you are. And as we've mentioned many times before, it's a high-pressure environment. You know, these guys are in day 2. They've already, they've already done incredibly to get all the way here, and it's already a high level of prestige. And you got something to prove at this point. When you're in the top 32, you're thinking to yourself, right? I've gotten through, however many 100 players already. Here I am with a shot at making the top 8, and if you make the top 8, you have a chance of becoming the first ever international championships champion, it's a pretty big title.
Yeah, this is true. It's kind of like, I already mentioned this before, but it's kind of like World Championship.
Yeah.
But you don't need an invite, so everyone can come here for themselves to make a big name, and it's just not. I mean, you get a big name when you win a regionals, right? When you win a regional championship, everyone knows your name at least and knows which deck you played. But when you win this big tournament here with so many players from all around the world, I think from almost every country where there are Pokemon players, there are a few here. Even from people that don't even need CP to get the Worlds invite from their country, they're still here just to attend in this tournament, and I think this is a great thing. But let's see how this matchup turns out. If Nicklas is able to turn this around with his Magiana X, or if Mikael's Gardevoir is just too strong.
So, if you're just joining us, ladies and gentlemen, we are here in round 2 of day 2 of the Pokemon Trading Card Game European International Championships. We've got Mikael Jakobs on the left, we've got Nicklas Danielsen on the right. They're about to go into game 3 of this match. It was game 2, rather?
Game 2.
No, game 2, sorry. And Mikael has taken game 1, and we are kicking off right now with game 2. Nicklas is going to go first. He's going to bench another Magiana. He's got started with 1 active, so and that's all he's got.
Maybe he has a double color synergy card, so he doesn't want to reveal anything. And here we see Spinder, the hero of his deck, knocking out Magikarps for days. And I'm very sorry for everyone who might be asking this, but I don't know what Spinder's second attack is doing.
I'm sure we'll find out if it ends up being active at some points. But also with the Magiana, it's right now, Nicklas's hand has actually got nothing. He said he might want to be conserving the double colors. He does have one in his hand, but you can see him flicking through his hand right now. There's no draw support in there at all, so it's not really baiting. He actually just doesn't have much.
Well, at least he can draw a prize in the next turn and then do a lot of things. He can also play Escape Rope into Magiana and then retreat just to reset a Soul Blaster and then maybe draw 3 prize cards actually with this. So it might be one of his plans here, but of course, when you can't do a lot of things anyways, this is the best you can do. And yeah, we just found out Spinder's first attack says flip a coin if has your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused. This is not very good because Mystic Heart just prevents this attack, so I don't really see why Spinder hit the bench here. Of course, it's just a Pokemon that you can attach energies to. It has 1 retreat, also 80 HP on a basic Pokemon, so it doesn't even get knocked out by Soul Blaster when the effect is in place. So
also, not only that, the first attack, if you flip Tails, Spinder itself gets confused as well, which could be a bit sad.
Yeah, this is true. But here Nicklas just takes a very early lead. Soul Blaster 120, 240 because of the weakness on Xerneas, and Mikael Jakobs just getting another Xerneas going here. And now he can use more Geomancy, taking out early pressure, and but he decides to take its second energy. This might become a problem, but only if Nicklas has a pretty good hand. We see he has an Escape Rope and he has a double color energy card to retreat again. So we might actually see Mikael just promoting his Spinder for it to get knocked out. And at this point, the way Mikael plays here, it really looks like he understood that Nicklas plays no float stone and no escape and no switch, only escape rope to switch his Pokemon. And also, what I completely forgot, last game, Mikael dominated without even using his max elixirs. He discarded all of them, and the one he actually played didn't give him an energy. I'm afraid of what this deck can do when you actually hit your max elixirs.
Yeah, well, definitely. I mean, the proof is right there. I mean, the reason why Mikael managed to do so well with it is, again, that Geomancy attack. He was given too many turns to just keep using it again and again and again, and at that point he built up so much energy that it was too much for Nicklas to overcome.
Yeah, also Nicklas is not playing Pokemon Ranger, which would also allow him, similar to why people play Pokemon Ranger and Volcanion, to attack to 240 with Soul Blaster again. Pokemon Ranger is usually also a counter card against stuff like Glaceon EX, Regice EX, or Jolteon EX. However, against Jolteon EX, this deck doesn't really have a big problem because you play Mega Pokemon. Glaceon EX is also not a big problem because you have Morgiana, so Regice is the only good reason to play Pokemon Ranger, but it's not a very popular card, so it makes sense to not play it. However, without good options to reset your Soul Blaster, Morgiana isn't even the best counter against Mega Gardevoir, because once you attack with Soul Blaster, you can't even one-hit knock out the Mega Gardevoir again, because you only do 120 damage because of the weakness lane again. So, yeah, a bit problematic, I think. It could backfire.
Yeah, it really could. As we see there, Mikael playing a Trainer's Mail. You just see another Max Elixir off that, but instead opting to take the Versus Seeker for next turn. So, yeah, Mikael won't be getting a knockout here. I mean, far from it. Even if he does to do live stream, it's only doing 100 damage right now, and I'm guessing he's probably going to... Oh no, he actually has opted to go for the live stream, so opting
yeah, I mean, it's a good 2-hit knockout here.
It is.
And seeing that your opponent he has no discard pile. So there isn't a lot going on for him. He also needs another Metal Energy to apply pressure in the turn afterwards.
Yeah.
I think he will just attach the double colors to his benchmark, and then just Soul Blaster for 120.
Yeah, either that, or he could escape rope.
Yeah, I mean, the escape rope will only give him the knockout on Spinder. Which, like I already said, this is the reason why Mikael put Spinder on his bench. It's just a Pokemon that you don't need, and you can always put it active when your opponent plays escape rope. And now Nicklas, you can see in his face, he's thinking like, I don't want to knock out the Spinder. And there's also Fairy Garden in place, so if he doesn't knock it out, Mikael just needs an energy, then he can retreat and then take the knockout on Morgana. But now he could just use live stream again and use his max elixirs to get energies flowing. Doesn't really need the Geomancy here, and I don't really see Nicklas winning anymore because there are just so many energies in play for Mikael.
Yeah, I think Nicklas definitely doesn't want to expend an escape rope and a double colorless just to knock out a Spinder.
Yeah.
It just does not seem worth.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a big problem here. Just Mikael just first Seeker for Professor Sycamore, and I actually really like Mikael's deck. In this meta game, it's just cool because you have resistance against stuff like Yveltal, and Garbodor doesn't stop you. He's just asking, did you already touch energy from his hand? Yes, he did. And here we see a Trainer's Mail for most likely Max Elixir. Maybe this gives him another energy card. It's running really great for him. He plays 11 Fairy Energies, which I think is like the... Most Yveltal decks play Max Elixirs, but only 9 Darkness Energy cards. However, they also have double colorless to attach from their hand. So it's a kind of similar deck. But still... Yeah, this game itself here doesn't really look great. There's not a lot going on.
I want to go back to this Garbodor point because I think it's very important. What Mikael's done here, he's taken this Gardevoir Steam Siege archetype that's obviously done very well, recognized a weakness in it in the fact that because Yveltal Garbodor is so popular, that that's ability locking is going to shut off its setting up a lot of the time, and so adapted the strategy so that he still has that option to attack with. Obviously it's very strong, but having a non-ability base of attacking with this Primal Clash Gardevoir means he's not vulnerable to that, and it's again paying off in spades. A very clever call from Jacob.
Yeah, but now Nicklas only has a Lysender. His only option is to play Lysender. Lysender Spinder, I think, and then hope the opponent doesn't have an energy card. Because then... Oh, it's not Spinder, but Shaman. Fair enough.
I think that Nicklas just laments the idea of even giving Spinder the ability to be in the active spots, which is it's a bit of a shame.
Yeah.
But I think that as Nicklas pointing out, there's not enough energy just yet. So there
are 8, right?
No, there's...
oh no, it's only 7. Yeah, so 1 energy left for Mikael, or he needs a Spirit Link and the Mega Gardevoir, or just 1 basic Pokemon to attack with the... Oh no, he can't attack with the Steam Siege because it doesn't have enough energy cards. So let's see. He has to retreat. He just needs Max Elixir to hit, or he needs the Mega Gardevoir and the Spirit Link.
Yeah, and it looks like that's what he's going to go for. He's going to play an Ultra Ball. He's probably going to grab something that isn't the Mega Gardevoir just so he can thin it out of his deck. But
he could also just take the Mega Gardevoir, because I'm pretty sure he has a Shaman in his hand. So he takes a Mega Gardevoir, then plays Shaman and looks if he gets the Spirit Link or not, and then he can still play N, and then shuffle the Mega Gardevoir back. And the cards he discarded with Ultra Ball then won't come into his hand. Then he can still hit the Max Elixir or just happen to draw the Spirit Link and Mega Gardevoir again.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, either way, I think it's safe to say that Mikael is a pretty almost dead set lock on this game. It's not 100% over yet, but I think we can all see the writing on the wall. Basically, see that he does draw that Shaman. Does he see the Spirit Link? It doesn't look like he has. But oh no, he has. Maybe.
No, he's just the deck going for 100 damage, no weakness again, so if Nicklas has an energy card, he can't even take the knockout. Trainer's Mail, I think this is a relief, but it comes a bit late. Another Lysander, so I think now he's forced to play Lysander Spinder. On the earlier turn, it actually made more sense to get the Shaman, because if Mikael then doesn't get an energy, Nicklas can at least draw 2 prize cards. So in the case he gets a Professor Sycamore or N from top of his deck, he can put another Pokemon on the bench, then draw 2 prize cards. He already got 1, and then he might still have a chance to win. But now, there's nothing really he can do. But there is another Shaman on his bench, I just realized. So he can just take the other Shaman and then hope again that Mikael doesn't have an energy card, but I'm pretty sure he does. So this game might be over next turn.
Yeah, and you see that. Oh, come on, Nicklas. You got to let the Spinder sit active at least once. We want to see it. But
so
obviously this is a better play, so,
Yeah, what do you do here? Yeah, he's just like, oh, play energy, good game, thank you, Mewtwo guy. And, well, very, very unfortunate for him, because he invested so much. Like, the Mega Mewtwo damage change is such a great attack. So he cut the Psychic Energies for Metal Energies and put Margirna in it to make everything work. He cannot play the Garbodor. And then you still lose against Mega Gardevoir. It's very unfortunate, but this is how the game works, and I really like Mikael's deck. It's very consistent.